Patrick Beverley followed up an excellent Game 5 with an embarrassing performance in Game 6. End of the game, he throws a ball at a group of fans, not once, but twice. And then after the game, he insulted a reporter. To her credit, Melinda Adams, who was the reporter in question, tweeted this morning. I want to thank everyone for their kind words and support. I am humbled. Patrick Beverley just called me and apologized. I appreciate it, and I accept it. The Bucks also reached out to apologize. I've been in news for over 40 years, and kindness and grace always win. Brew, your reaction.
It's just terrible on Patrick Beverley's behalf. I mean, it was just, first of all, and what you didn't see, you mentioned he threw it into the crowd twice. He first kind of lobbed the ball into the crowd, and it hit a woman in the face. She's not looking, just surprisingly hits her in the face. Thankfully, he didn't throw it as hard as he did this time, and where he fired it. And there's a little girl there that was in the line of fire. He missed her, thankfully, but he could have easily hit her. And then what he did to the reporter, I mean, that was just straight bullying. I'm not going to jump on any of the reporters, but I wish they all would have walked away in support of Melinda Adams. That was just terrible. And I don't know that he's issued a public apology about the reporter. I know he did about the fans and things like that, but he should. I'm glad he did call the reporter. But I think he should be suspended, fined, of course, but suspended for at least the first 5 games of next year. And I know that sounds a lot. I wouldn't even be mad at 10 because this is just uncalled for. You can't be doing that to fans. And I don't think they can bake in the situation with the reporter into the fine, but just
the reporter stuff. Tell me if you agree, Brew, and then I'll let you finish. The reporter stuff is like a separate category entirely. Right. I think it shows, to me, it's about the character and that. But I don't think you get suspended for the league for being a jerk to a reporter. The stuff with the fans in Indianapolis, of all places, you know what I mean? Is where I think you're saying where he could be really punished for.
Yeah, I mean, we all know what has happened in the past with the fans and players, and, you know, heckling occurs as long as it's not beyond, the boundaries, and there's no evidence that it was. The reports are that a fan yelled Cancun when the team broke in the huddle, and they said Cancun. And so, look, 10 might seem harsh, but again, the potential for what you could have done. You could have hurt somebody. Had the fans been more aggressive, they could have gone at you, and now you start a ruckus. So, yeah, 5 games at least I'd like to see. Wouldn't be mad at 10 next year.
So I've seen the whole journey, Pat. And I'm going to go through it for the audience because it's as embarrassing as anything that happened last night. From when you got to Houston, I was there. You were thrilled to be in the league. Happiest guy in the world, hanging out at Onyx at 3 in the morning with your ridiculous fake chains because you couldn't get into Dreams yet. I understand. I was in a similar spot, buddy. And you went from that to whatever you've become, a delusional, cheap shot artist, misogynistic clown. Promoting your podcast at the expense of your career, which to its credit, let me check, while still behind Andy Roddick's tennis podcast and your own teammates pod, you are ahead of Bear Grease by Clay Newcomb. So good luck with it. So how did you get here? And how did Pat Bev become a guy that we talk about despite the Basketball Reference page? A creation of your own delusion in Houston. One and done every year that you played. You know how they broke through to make the conference finals? I don't know, but I know you were out that year. Then they didn't have another playoff run till they traded you and then promptly made another conference finals. So what happened then? You went to the Clippers and you beat Kevin Durant in a basketball game and talked about it. And then he promptly dropped 50 on you and reminded everyone who he was and who you were. That offseason, you then declared to anyone who would listen, the next 5 years are mine. Steph Curry's had his time. By the way, those 5 years ended literally last night. It's been 5 years since then. How did that go, those 5 years? Well, the first year, what happened in the bubble? You started the bubble by disrespecting Michelle Roberts in front of your colleagues, and they had to talk you down from it. You ended the bubble by being a key part of the biggest gag job in the last 30 years in the NBA. What did you do the next season? Then next year, Ty Lue's big adjustment, the one time the Clippers are going on a playoff run. You remember what it was? Sitting your ass on the bench. That's what turned that playoff run around. How did that playoff run end? Oh, yeah. With Chris Paul having the best game of his life on you, and you dealing with it by shoving a man in the back when he wasn't looking, and then going on TV and calling a legend of the game a cone. What then happened after that? 2022, you won your championship. Unfortunately, it was a play-in game, and you celebrated like it was. And then 2023 to 2024, you have been on the Jazz, the Lakers, the Magic, the Bulls, the Sixers, and the Bucks, and not a single one of them wanted to keep you around. And you ended that tenure by throwing a basketball at a woman's head, getting it back, throwing it at another fan, and then yelling at another woman in the locker room because she doesn't listen to your terrible podcast. So if this was your last moment in the league, good riddance. Won't be missed, won't be memorable. I mean, congrats for creating something out of thin air like the Wizard of Oz that never should have existed, to where you're a guy that's talked about, but unnecessary from start to finish, pal.
Well, so I did like when he did the too small on LeBron. Just wanted to disapprove of what he did last night, but the too small on LeBron was funny.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.